Welcome to News Laundry. I'm Amit Bharadwaj. As the Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections are barely 7 months away, today we have former Chief Minister of Delhi and Congress Party's Chief Ministerial candidate, Mrs. Sheila Dikshit. Welcome, ma'am. The first question which arises is, with Congress announcing you as the Chief Ministerial candidate, there is a talk in political circle that you have been made scapegoat. Do you agree?
How can I be made a scapegoat for my party? It's a great honor for me, and since they've taken a decision, it's more than welcome, and it's my duty also to follow that decision. I think this is all talk, gossip, that scapegoat, this, that, the other.
Gossip.
Because I'll tell you one thing, you'll be surprised to know that Congress is going to win this election.
Congress is going to win this election. From there, I recall a statement given by you in a TV channel interview where you said, if given a choice, I will prefer Punjab for the simple reason that it will be more manageable and UP is too large, much too large. This was in an interview with Karan Thapar. So was the decision forced upon you?
No. It wasn't a decision. Karan Thapar asked me a question, I gave an answer. It came from my side. But as I said, I'm a disciplined soldier of the party, and they asked me not to do this, to go to UP. So I decided.
But UP was not your first preference, right?
It's not a matter of my preference. It's a choice. If I was given a choice, I would have done that. But it's not a matter of my preference, it's the preference of the party. Wherever the party thinks they want to put you, it's their prerogative and their privilege to do so. And I must also tell you that I started my political career from UP.
Okay, yeah.
You see, I contested a seat from there. I was a minister in Rajiv Gandhi's government also. So and I'm married into a family, very illustrious freedom fighters family in UP. So it's not that I have gone out, I'm some outsider who's been thrust there. And I must also tell you that even I was born in Punjab, so so I have these relations. But the choice is the parties, the high commands, Mrs. Gandhi's and all, and we just go by that.
Yeah, as you said that Congress party is going to win this election, there's a fact that since 1989, Congress is completely out of power.
Yes.
There's no cadre base on the ground as such. It's not visible, even if it is there. So how do you think under such circumstances Congress will be able to perform?
Of course it will be able to perform. We have had trips all around UP recently, We've been doing
it's going on, right?
It's going on almost for a month, almost for 3.5, 4 weeks. And the response has been astounding. That is why I took the courage to say that Congress will win. It's been really astounding. The workers have come out, people have come out. I think for all these 27 years when they have seen governments of the BJP, the BSP and the SP, I think they have become very disillusioned with all of them. Because if there's one thing lacking in UP today, it is good governance, or governance which makes the state grow. So people are looking for a change, and if you could only see the crowds that come. For instance, in Banaras, when Mrs. Gandhi was also there, not only were the streets chock-a-block full, even the
houses,
people on rooftops and things like that were looking all out. The same thing happened when we went to Kanpur. The same thing happened when we went to Lucknow for the first time. And I've just come back from Gorakhpur and all. It's been wonderful. So the response of the people has been really outstanding and alarmingly outstanding, I would say.
So when you were declared as the candidate, there were two things which were said in public. One was that you are UP's Bahu of UP. The other was your Brahmin face. So the projection of Sheila Dikshit, the former Delhi Chief Minister, as Brahmin face in UP, is Congress party eyeing on the upper caste vote and specifically Brahmin vote bank?
No, I would not put it down to such simplistic these things, such a simplistic explanation as you make. And people, you meet 20 people, they'll have 20 different views. So the views are all there. But when I came to Delhi, for the first time when I got elected in 1998, everybody said she's an outsider from Delhi also. For 2-3 years they carried on and on saying, writing this, she's an outsider, she's an outsider. Having won the election, having got the mandate from the people. So it goes on. So these are opinions which cannot really sway what we decide.
Coming on to opinions, Uttar Pradesh Congress Committee, the UPCC, is often known for divided factions in the party itself.
Yeah.
Now there is a faction of Pramod Tiwari, the other faction is of Rita Bahuguna Joshi. How do you plan to bring all these leaders on one platform?
They are already on one platform. The factions are perceived and imagine that they are perfection, because both the names that you have taken have been presidents of the UPCC. So they are bound to have people who are, came in their time or joined in their time or were office bearers in the time. So the people at large call it a faction. It's not really a faction, it's a continuity. And they are leaders, they are good leaders, they have a following. So I don't see why they should not be there.
But there shouldn't be any rift in the party, right?
No, there is no rift. There is really no rift. I can tell you that with honesty, that there is no rift in the party.
Going back to the outsider perspective which you faced in Delhi as well, and now you are probably facing in Uttar Pradesh. So do you think the voters in UP would accept an outsider, as in political outsider, because you have been Chief Minister here for 15 years, and the preference of someone from the state itself would have been better for the party?
I say this with all humility, that people in UP have got a feeling that because the Congress was able to win on good governance for 3 times, continuously, consecutively, that very thing can be repeated. Good governance, which UP needs desperately, can be repeated like it was done in Delhi. So there is nothing like an outsider. And please remember one thing, I don't understand why we are called UP Walas or Delhi Walas or Punjab. We are all Indians.
So there was one more question, rather I would call a question from the common UP Wala for the moment, that you gave a model of development to Delhi. Delhi saw tremendous change. So the question was, will Sheila Dikshit be able to give us development, not the amount of development which Delhi saw, even if she is able to give us 1/5 of what Delhi saw?
Why not? You see, we did it over a period of 10-15 years, and we did it because we were determined to. And the same thing will happen in UP also.
The state is too large.
It is very large. It is very, very large, no doubt about it. And the problems are enormous. I mean, law and order, for instance, which is the primary duty of any government. It's a total failure there. I mean, everybody is fed up of that law and order. There are no jobs. Agriculture, the farmer's in a mess. He's not getting what is his due. Then there's no, education is lacking behind. And industry is closed down. Even the centers of industry like Kanpur and Banaras and other places, Kannauj for instance, which used to produce ether, even those have flopped down. So there's no industry, there's no development, there's the shortage of power also. You go everywhere, you find there's a shortage of power. It's mismanagement of power. I don't know whether it's shortage or it's mismanagement. So it's a government, and it seems to be, the current government for instance, seems to be run by a family, and the second, the BSP is run by one individual, this thing. Now these kind of things, democratic system of functioning, where you take in everybody, is not there with either BSP or SAPA. And BJP, even its promises haven't been fulfilled. I'll give you a very simple example, which is in the minds of many, many people, that they had promised that a mandir would be made in place of the Babri Mandir. Has that promise been fulfilled? They don't even talk about it. So that credibility of a government is not there.
So, coming to promises, in past 2 years since 2014, after 2014 general elections rather, the hope and expectation of voters has increased, and there's a sense of disenchantment whether in Delhi or across the country. So there's a phrase which has come up, Jumla. So every political party during the elections give promises, as you were talking about education, law and order situation. So how do you how do you plan, or how will you ensure the voters of Uttar Pradesh that this Congress party, whatever they are promising in the elections, these are not jumlas?
Look, I'll tell you, Congress has a history, has a long history of governance, you know. Out of the 60, 70 years, you know, it's ruled for 55, 50, or maximum amount. Whatever it has said, it has always done. It's never made false promises. It hasn't made promises in the air. So that kind of record is there with the government, with the Congress. We are very proud of it. And we are going to remind the people that whatever Congress says, it does. It doesn't only talk. For instance, you know, you have many political parties these days making all kinds of wild promises. We'll give you this free, we'll give you that free, and this will happen and that will happen. It doesn't happen. The experience of this is being seen very currently, both with the Modi government as well as with the Kejriwal government, the Delhi government.
The thing that you talked about, family running a party or individual running a party, that applies on Congress as well, don't you think so?
No, no. I'll tell you one thing. It may be a family. It's a family which has done, which is, you know, the Congress has stood by and they have stood by the Congress. And please remember, we are a democracy. Eventually, it's not we who elect, it's the people who elect. And if they elect, so be it.
So that applies for Samajwadi Party and BSP as well?
Yes, of course it does. But what you do with them when they have been elected, if you know, if the democratic system elects somebody, so be it.
The Samajwadi Party is eyeing on Yadav and Muslim vote bank, and it is believed that Dalit, upper caste and a fraction of Muslims are with Mayawati's BSP. And in past couple of months, we have seen a huge polarization happening in UP by BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party. There are allegations. Where do you see Congress party in all these caste equations?
We will go by what has always been our, you know, our approach to politics. It's inclusive. We want to include everybody into it. We have never aspired to be representing only a section of society. For us, everybody, according to their need and according to what they deserve to have, you know, they need to have. So it's an inclusive party. So we don't think in terms of this particular caste or that particular religion or anything. We want everybody there. So that is the great difference between the Congress and other parties.
So I believe that Mr. Prashant Kishore, who is handling the campaign or strategy in UP, he is not calculating the figures, 23% Dalit, 12% Brahmin.
I wouldn't know what Prashant is doing, because we do what we think we should, and he of course organizes a lot of stuff. It gives us an organizational support, and the rest of it is, I'm talking of what has been the philosophy of the Congress. It's inclusive. Growth for all, according to their need, according to what they deserve to have and what they need to have. I mean, a poor person needs to be treated differently from what say a trader has to be treated, or a trader's demands are different from what a industrialist's demand are. So each according to their requirement, and inclusive. Everybody needs to. I mean, a government is for everybody. It's not for a particular caste, creed or religion.
Right. We have learned that the preparation for rallies of Priyanka Gandhi is on. So when should we expect her to be in action?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. All that I can tell you is that every worker in the Congress would like Priyanka Gandhi to participate. The decision has to be hers, and she will take it when it comes.
We have also learned that you have already taken a rented apartment in Lucknow. Is that?
Yes, yes.
There's one more question as you were talking about law and order situation. How important law and order issue is going to be in the elections in terms of polls?
Well, it's very important, I'll tell you. The kind of rapes that have taken place, you know, there was the Bulandshahr rape, which was there where the mother and the daughter were raped. So these are very serious things and they concern our lives, everyday lives. So it's of primary importance, and the fact that if a government cannot govern, then what can it do, leave alone everything else? That's the primary first duty. So it's going to be a priority for the Congress anyway.
How about the Dalit atrocities?
Of course they should not be there, certainly not, and they are not in our period at all. Please remember that. When the Congress rules, or when it is in governance, it sees to the security of each and every citizen. That's the primary duty of any government, no matter what creed or caste or they belong to.
In recent months, I was in different parts of Western UP. So you feel a certain amount of change in the air. There's huge polarization happening, which is not, you can't see it on the surface obviously, but there are preparations. So, do you feel that there will be huge disturbances by the time elections come?
No, I think it's too early to come to any kind of conclusion there. It's always so. Both Bihar and UP are, you know, very caste oriented and very conscious of caste and all. So we'll see it along. As I said, our philosophy is always to take everybody with us, and we will do that. And I hope that that message will go to the people.
When I say the disturbances, I am specifically referring, for instances like Kairana, what happened in Kairana. I myself reported a story where near Modinagar area, you have different camps, fringe elements, Hindu fringe groups, who are training kids as young as 7-year-old.
Well, I think this is something to be worried about, and it has to be gone into deeper. Why is it happening? There's something wrong, that something amiss, not wrong, but something amiss, that these kind of things are coming up. And I think any government who is there, is their primary duty to see that what is causing all this, that cause should be removed and attended to, so that it does not. Why did it not happen 10, 15 years ago? Why is it happening now? You see, these are things which require studies, and there are a lot of studies. There are people who understand. They know that what they are doing is right or wrong. Everybody knows that. Why they are doing? Because there is a lax governance, you know. If there was strong governance and governance which was, you know, which would respond, a responsive government, then these things would have not happened.
Whom do you hold responsible for this?
Well, I would say that there is some triggering within the communities themselves, but that trigger has to be contained by the police, by the law and order situation.
You don't see any political propaganda behind?
Well, there could be. I wouldn't be able to tell you. You say you have studied it and you felt that, but I would not say that. But I would say that there is a disturbance. Certainly there is. Remember that that beef case, whatever it was. Then there were the Muzaffarpur riots and all. They were unnecessary.
And the recent developments of Gorakhpur.
Yes, you see, they were unnecessary. There was no need for all that.
Do you feel providing political patronage to such organizations or people who are promoting Gorakhpur or taking law in hand is right?
No, of course not. How can people take the law into their hands? If people started taking the law into their hands and managed it very well, then there would be no need for a police force or any kind of a force. They would not be required. So people can't take law into their hands. Law has to be followed as law. And once it is broken, then action has to be initiated.
Past 2 decades, you have been in Delhi politics. So how do you see that how different is UP politics from Delhi politics?
Oh, it's very different. Remember please that Delhi is a very small state compared to UP. It's hardly a state. It's a union territory as they call it. And besides, it's the capital of this country also. So it draws a different kind of attention, you know. It requires different kind of treatment, it requires different kind of policies. So you can't compare the country's largest state with one of the smallest ones. So it's very different, but challenges are what governments are meant to handle, you see, and see that they are, it can be a challenge in Andhra, it can be a challenge in, a different challenge in Haryana, a different one in Chandigarh, and so on. So each situation requires a different kind of a treatment. You can't have it across the board.
So, by any chance, do you support the idea of dividing UP in 4 parts?
Well, there's a lot of talk about it, because a lot of people and a lot of intellectuals also feel that perhaps if UP was, you know, divided into 3 or 4 areas. I, for the moment, would not say that we should divide it, make new states out of it. But yes, I think we should treat areas, you know, Uttaranchal, you know, or this Western UP, Eastern UP, Central UP, and
better known as like Braj.
Yes, they require different kind of approaches.
Right.
So that kind of planning should be done. That planning, whichever government comes, and if our government comes and we are there, and certainly we'll have to see what is required in Western UP is not necessarily required in Eastern UP, because they're very, very different. The distances, the culture, the requirements, the need, the climate also changes. So all that. So I think much more meticulous planning has to be done rather than across the board.
One more question, which comes out one of the statements which you have given earlier in media. Whom do you consider a more serious political opponent, Mayawati, Akhilesh Yadav, or Arvind Kejriwal?
Arvind Kejriwal is not there in UP.
Yeah, I'm talking in terms of political opponent, because you have faced Arvind Kejriwal before.
Well, you see, they're all political opponents, so they're equally important as opponents, you know, and we have to teach opponents. Kejriwal has brought in a style of promises, you know, without knowing what the promises. I don't know how many of them he has fulfilled in Delhi, and he talks of corruption, and there's 21 of his own MLAs involved in corruption of one kind or the other. It may not be monetary necessarily, but you know, it could be anything. So what he says and what actually he does, or what comes out of him, is very different. So I think people will.
Why I asked you this question was, your statement was that he shouldn't be taken very seriously.
He should be?
He should be. He shouldn't be. That's what you said in one of the interviews, that Arvind Kejriwal shouldn't be taken very seriously. You were referring to Delhi tanker scam and the files which have been sent to LG.
You see, what I said was, I don't remember which one you're talking about, but one thing, there is a constitutional provision for governance in Delhi. It's everywhere all over the country. Delhi has a particular constitutional provision that this is how it will be governed. The LG will have this many powers, the Chief Minister will have this many powers, the centre will have this many powers. In the centre, it's the Urban Development Ministry and the Home Ministry, which look at things. Lieutenant Delhi, for instance, is, you know, almost with the government of India. So you see, you cannot treat, or you cannot think of Delhi equivalent to other states. The whole thing is very different. Now, if you don't work according to that, then you're working against the constitution, or have the constitution changed. We also wanted more powers when we were in government, and we also tried to have more powers with us, for instance, land or police part, law and order. But it was never given to us, even though my own party's government was there in the centre. Because, and as I experienced the whole thing, experience told me that perhaps you cannot make Delhi a kind of state which other states are, because it's very special. It's the capital of this country. Diplomats live here. All the, you know, cabinet lives here. So many things happen here. The whole government, the President of India is here. So the centre of India's governance is
So
the
Congress
topmost.
party shouldn't be pushing for statehood for
I
Delhi
wouldn't
in
say
coming
it shouldn't
elections.
be pushing for it. It's up to us to say, every party would like to have more powers, because once it has the powers, then it can do what it like. It can be held responsible for it. Here in Delhi, you're held responsible for things which you haven't done, you know.
Right.
So that is a bit of a dilemma.
Mhm.
A little, frustrating to say that. All right.
For the chief ministers and the
Yes,
ministers.
that why is the law and order bad? Well, the chief minister has nothing to do with the law and order. So there are these ambiguities which need to be corrected, but that is something which Parliament alone can decide.
One last question. Whom do you consider more serious political opponent in terms of party, BSP, BJP or Samajwadi Party?
I think all of them are.
All.
Because you see, it's a four-cornered contest there. So we have to fight all the four. So we think all four are our opponents.
Thank you for talking with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
If you like that, click here to support us and down here to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and do check out the other stuff we do, like News Laundry interviews, Why So Serious, animations, comics, panel discussions, podcasts which are really big, and much, much more.